The red flag you can't ignore. Why she's rushing out of bed. If you want to know the truth about your performance, don't look at the clock. Look at what she does the very second you are finished. When a woman is truly satisfied, when her body is buzzing and her mind is at peace, she doesn't move. She wants to linger in that heat, feel your weight, and soak in the afterglow of a job well done. But if the moment you finish, she is already reaching for her phone, swinging her legs off the bed, or heading straight to the shower to wash you off, you need to wake up. That isn't just cleaning up, that is an escape. It is a loud, silent signal that the experience was something she simply endured rather than enjoyed. You haven't just completed a task, you have failed to anchor her to you. And that should be a massive wake up call for any man who cares about his prowess. The truth is that intimacy is supposed to be a magnetic experience that leaves a woman temporarily paralyzed by pleasure. If she's rushing to get up, it's because there is nothing keeping her there. There's no emotional residue, no physical lingering, and no reason for her to stay in a space that has already served its lackluster purpose. When you fail to hit the right spots, both physically and mentally, the bed becomes just a piece of furniture rather than a sanctuary. If she's treating your bedroom like a bus stop, where she's just waiting for the ride to end so she can get on with her real life, you aren't knacking her. You're just wasting her time. You have to understand that for a woman, the end of the act is just as important as the beginning. If the ending is abrupt, messy, or unfulfilling, her natural instinct is to reset her environment immediately. When a woman stays, she is giving you a standing ovation without saying a word. When she stands up and leaves, she is telling you that you missed the mark entirely. You've left her frustrated, bored, or feeling like a mere object, and her zooming off is her way of reclaiming her time and space. You might feel like a champion because you reached your goal, but if she's already halfway to the bathroom, you're a champion of one. A real man knows how to make a woman feel so good that the very thought of standing up feels like a chore. If you are tired of seeing her back as she walks away from the bed while you're still catching your breath, you need to pay attention. You need to understand the mechanics of why she's checking out. Because if she keeps checking out of the bed, it won't be long before she checks out of the relationship entirely. Stop managing and start mastering. The biggest mistake you can make in the bedroom is showing up with a mind full of calculations instead of a heart full of passion. When you focus entirely on what you don't want to happen, like an unplanned pregnancy, you aren't actually with your woman. You're inside your own head. If you are constantly stressing about the withdrawal method or overthinking your every move to avoid a mistake, you are managing the situation like a business meeting instead of mastering the moment like a man. You become hesitant, your rhythm is off, and your intensity is watered down because you're always looking for the nearest exit. This lack of presence is a vibe killer. Your woman can feel that you are holding back, and it leaves her feeling physically ignored and emotionally disconnected. She doesn't want a partner who is tiptoeing around her. She wants a man who is fully locked in. If you are terrified of the consequences, stop the guesswork. Use protection, look into long-term family planning, and handle your business outside the bedroom so that when you're inside it, you can give her 100% of your energy. You cannot satisfy a woman while you're busy being your own internal security guard. True mastery requires you to stop treating intimacy like a dangerous chore you need to navigate safely. When you're managing, you're essentially giving her a diet version of yourself. No flavor, no heat, and no satisfaction. A woman wants to feel your power and your focus. She wants to know that in that moment, nothing in the world matters to you except her pleasure. If you're pulling back at the very moment she's getting excited because you're worried about spilling over, you've ruined the flow. You've broken the spell. By trying to play it safe, you are actually making the situation more dangerous for your relationship because a frustrated woman is a woman who starts looking elsewhere for someone who can actually take her to the finish line. Stop stressing. Get the right protection in place and stop being a manager. Start being the master of the experience. Why playing it too safe is killing the mood. There is a massive lie going around that you need to pity a woman or handle her like she's made of glass to keep her tight or avoid causing her pain. Let's get one thing straight. Her body is not fragile. It is resilient, elastic, and literally built for this exact intensity. When you approach a woman with pity, you aren't being a gentleman. You're being a bore. You're holding back because you're insecure about your own size, or you're worried that being too rough will spoil her. This is a total misconception. That area is like an elastic band. It's designed to handle you. When you hold back and pity her, she doesn't feel respected. She feels underwhelmed. She senses your lack of confidence and assumes you don't know what you're doing, or worse, that you aren't actually attracted to her. She doesn't want a timid, hesitant partner who handles her with kid gloves. She wants someone who isn't afraid to take charge and show her exactly how much he desires her. When you play it too safe, you're basically telling her that you don't think she can handle you, which is actually an insult to her womanhood. This pity often stems from your own internal fears. Maybe you're worried your big man isn't standard enough, so you move slowly and quietly, hoping she won't notice. But guess what? She notices the lack of energy more than anything else. She notices that you aren't giving her that raw, authentic passion she craves. If you're her husband, stop treating her like a stranger you're afraid to break. If she's your partner, she wants to feel your strength. Pity has no place in the honeypot. It needs fire, it needs direction, and it needs a man who understands that her pleasure is tied to his confidence. If you keep acting like she's going to break, she's going to find someone who knows she was built to be enjoyed. Stop being careful and start being convincing. Stop skipping the foundation. Why foreplay isn't optional. If you are the kind of man who thinks the main event starts the moment you enter, you are setting yourself up for a massive failure. Skipping foreplay is like trying to drive a car that hasn't been started in the middle of winter. You're forcing the engine to run while it's still ice cold, and all you're going to do is cause damage and frustration. Many men are in such a hurry to get to the finish line that they completely ignore the buildup, and then they wonder why their woman is dry, distant, or checking the clock. You have to realize that a woman's body doesn't work like a microwave. It works like a slow burning fire. If you don't take the time to stoke those flames, you're never going to get a real spark. When you rush the process, she isn't enjoying the moment. She is simply enduring it. She becomes a spectator to your pleasure instead of a participant in a shared experience. If you skip the essentials, you are essentially telling her that her pleasure doesn't matter as long as you get yours. And that is exactly why she is ready to jump out of bed the second you're done. You need to stop being afraid of touching the untouchable and exploring every inch of her body. Too many men are shy about grabbing what needs to be grabbed or heading to the oranges because they think it's too much or they feel awkward. Listen, she is your property in that moment, and she wants to feel that you are obsessed with her entire being. If you aren't exploring her, kissing her, and using your hands to build that tension, you are failing the most basic test of intimacy. Foreplay isn't just extra credit, it is the actual foundation of a successful encounter. Without that proper stimulation, she never reaches the level of arousal necessary to truly connect with you. If you don't invest the time and energy into the buildup, do not be surprised when she refuses to invest her time in the aftermath. She's rushing to the shower or her phone because to her, the event was over before it even started. If you want her to stay, you have to give her a reason to be there in the first place. The silent killer. Why zero aftercare leaves her cold. You can be the most skilled man in the world physically, but if you have zero emotional aftercare, you are still a failure in the bedroom. Physical skill means absolutely nothing if there is no soul or connection behind the act. When the knacking is over and you immediately roll over, close your eyes, or start scrolling through social media, you are sending a devastating message. The transaction is complete, and you are no longer useful to me. A woman is not a vending machine where you put in a little effort and walk away with the prize. She is a human being with emotions that are heightened after intimacy. If there is no eye contact, no soft words, and no romance once the physical act is finished, she begins to feel like a tool or a toy rather than a partner. She feels used, discarded, and cheapened. This is the exact moment her dignity kicks in, and she stands up to leave because staying in that bed makes her feel empty. Compassion and communication are what actually anchor a woman to the bed long after the sweat has dried. Aftercare is the simple act of showing her that you value her presence more than just what she provides for your release. It's the I love this, the babe, you were amazing, the gentle kiss on the forehead, and the willingness to just stay close and talk. When you provide this emotional safety net, she feels secure enough to linger. She feels loved, seen, and appreciated. Without it, you are just two bodies bumping together in the dark. And that lack of connection is why so many women zoom off the moment you finish. They are going to look for their clothes because they don't want to be near someone who treats them like a ghost the second the lights go out. If you want her to stay in your bed and in your life, you need to master the art of the afterglow. Tell her she's beautiful, hold her for a few minutes, and let her know that the connection matters more to you than the climax. If you don't care for her heart after you've had her body, you won't be having her body for very much longer. The crisis of the early finish. Why speed is your biggest enemy. Let's be brutally honest and cut straight to the chase. If you are crossing the finish line before she has even left the starting blocks, you are leaving your woman in a state of physical and emotional limbo. Rapid ejaculation is not just a minor inconvenience, it is a total vibe killer and a slow acting poison for any relationship. Imagine she has spent time getting into the mood. Her body is finally beginning to respond, and she's just starting to catch the rhythm. And then suddenly, you're done. In that moment, the energy in the room dies instantly. For you, it's a release. But for her, it's a massive, frustrating to be continued that never actually continues. When this becomes a pattern, she stops looking forward to intimacy and starts seeing it as a chore that ends in disappointment. She isn't staying in bed to cuddle with you because she's too busy managing the physical frustration of being left hanging. If she feels like she's constantly being invited to a feast only to be told the kitchen is closed after one bite, she will eventually stop showing up altogether. This isn't just about a few minutes of pleasure. This is a crisis that strikes at the very heart of your confidence as a man and your future as a partner. When you know you can't go the distance, you start approaching the bed with anxiety instead of excitement, and that stress only makes the problem worse. But it goes deeper than just the bedroom vibes. It can actually affect your ability to procreate and build the family you've always dreamed of. If you are pouring your seeds before you've even properly entered or before the environment is right, the chances of successful impregnation drop significantly. You have to realize that this isn't a natural way to live. It is often a health and lifestyle issue that has crept up on you. No man is born with this as a permanent sentence. It usually stems from a lack of physical maintenance, poor habits, or high stress levels that have hijacked your body's natural stamina. If your lifestyle is failing you, your performance will fail her. And once that cycle starts, it's only a matter of time before she zooms off to find someone who can actually keep up with her needs. You have to understand that a woman's patience has an expiration date. If she loves you, she might try to manage it for a while. She might offer suggestions, or she might stay quiet to protect your ego. But don't mistake her silence for satisfaction. Deep down, the resentment is building. If she is your wife and she happens to encounter a man who knows how to take his time and make her feel truly alive, the temptation to cheat becomes a very real and dangerous threat to your home. Most marriages that are crumbling today aren't falling apart because of money or big arguments. They are collapsing because the bedroom has become a place of shame and unfulfilled desires. This is a serious issue that requires a direct solution. You cannot pray this away or hope it fixes itself next Tuesday. You need to take active steps to reclaim your stamina and fix your ejaculation health. If you want to be the man who keeps her anchored to the bed, sweating and smiling and never wanting to leave your side, you must address this crisis today. Don't wait until she's already packed her bags. Fix the engine before the car stops running entirely.